Hey friend, are you asking yourself, is this what I really want to be doing with my life? I don't think so. I think there's something else that I'm meant to be doing. Welcome to the Painting Your Path podcast, where we have real conversations about what it takes to step out, be bold, and do you. I'm your host, Clarissa Castillo-Ramsey. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the Painting Your Path podcast. I'm recording this episode after wrapping up the Becoming Experience, a 3-day virtual retreat centered around mindset, body, and spirit. And honestly, I'm still taking it all in. The conversations, the DMs, the stories, the insights women shared at our wrap-up call. The women who showed up, ready to reflect, reconnect, and ask themselves something deeper about who they are becoming in this next chapter of life. There's something powerful about witnessing a woman remembering herself, not reinventing, not becoming someone completely different, but returning to the parts of herself that have been waiting patiently for her attention. And that idea of returning has been following me around lately. Because while I created the Becoming Experience for other women, I have also been going through my own becoming, my own remembering, my own return. And today, I want to share a story about how my brand new Painting Your Path membership came to be. And it's something that's been on my mind for far too long. I need to take my own advice. Insight is great, but it's meaningless without action. So here's the story of how this membership first became an idea. It started with something I blurted out during a conversation with a few of my business friends. We were talking about offers, programs, models, and all the things entrepreneurs talk about when they're trying to figure out what they're supposed to create next. And somewhere in the middle of that conversation, I said, and I probably sighed, all I really want to do is paint with people. That was it. Not a complicated strategy, not an 11-module course. No elaborate funnel. I just wanted to paint with people. And shout out to my friend Monica, who looked at me and asked a very simple question. Then why aren't you doing that? And I had an answer, or at least I thought I did. I thought business couldn't be that easy. Surely I needed to work harder than that. Surely I needed to, quote unquote, solve a bigger problem. Surely gathering women together to create, reflect, and connect wasn't enough. And even as I said all that, I could hear a story
underneath the story. And that story was creativity was nice, but not necessary. Art was enjoyable, but not serious. And painting with women might be meaningful, but it wasn't important enough to build a business around. And wow, what? That story wasn't new. It sounded like the message so many of us heard when we were younger. Art isn't practical. You need a real job. Choose something stable. Do something useful. Be responsible. And many of us listened. I know I did. We became excellent students, reliable employees, capable leaders, business owners, caregivers, partners, mothers, problem solvers. We learned how to achieve, how to perform, and how to keep going. But somewhere along the way, some of us left a creative part of ourselves behind. And I had done that too. Yes, I've been making art for a long time. Yes, I call myself an artist. Yes, I have shown and sold my work. But had I truly allowed the artist inside to lead, had I fully trusted that part of myself, or was I still trying to justify her existence by attaching her to something that sounded more impressive, more productive, or more profitable? And I think in some ways I was denying a part of myself. I talked about being an artist. I loved being an artist, but I wasn't leaning into it 100%. Because the psychologist in me sounded credible. The coach in me sounded useful. The business owner in me sounded ambitious. But the artist simply wanted to create, to notice, to play, to make meaning, and to sit with other people and ask, what is moving through you right now? And what would it look like if you gave it color? And maybe that is not a small problem after all. I recently had dinner with some friends. And, of course, we started talking about work and life. We talked about how you can work for weeks, for months, or years towards a big goal. You finish the you finish the presentation, you land the account, you receive the award, you get promoted. People congratulate you. Maybe there's cake. Maybe there's applause. Maybe there's an announcement. And maybe finally feel that high of accomplishing the thing you wanted so badly. And then you wake up the next day and it's business as usual. There's another goal, another deadline, another meeting, another mountain to climb. That thing that once felt enormous becomes yesterday's news. And I know that cycle all too well. For me, there was always another accomplishment to chase, another credential to earn, another way to prove I was capable. And I'm not saying accomplishments are bad. I'm proud of what I have achieved. And you should be proud of what you have achieved. I worked hard for my degree. I'm proud of the businesses, programs, workshops, art, books, podcast episodes I have created. In spite of my health challenges right now. But at this stage of life, I'm less interested in constantly proving myself. It's taken its toll. I am more interested in becoming, in enjoying this path of life. And here's some questions that I'm asking myself. And I invite you to ask yourself. Who am I when I'm not chasing the next accolade? Who am I when there is nothing to earn? Who am I when I stop measuring my worth by how many hours I work in a day? Who am I when I allow myself to create simply because creating makes me feel alive? And here's another thing. I've never really liked labels. And I especially don't love the question, what do you do for a living? I get why people ask it. It's an easy conversation starter. But it can also feel so boring, so limited. It barely scratches the surface of who a person is at their core. So how do I answer that question? I'm an organizational psychologist, a coach, an artist, an author, a podcaster, facilitator, wife, daughter, friend, community member. A woman who has experienced grief. A woman dealing with a voice condition. A woman who is still discovering herself. A woman who is trying to live more truthfully. A woman who wants to make beautiful art and create spaces where other people feel safe and seen and heard. None of us can be captured by a job title. And perhaps one of the invitations of midlife is to stop reducing ourselves to something easily explained. Maybe I should say I am no one, and we are allowed to be layered, complex, to change our minds, to come back to old dreams, to become more of who we are. And that's why I created this membership. And it lives at the intersection of the things I love the most: creativity, wellness, and self-discovery. It's for the woman who's tired of chasing the next thing and wondering why it still doesn't feel like enough. It's for the woman who misses the creative side of herself, but still feels intimidated about starting again. It's for the woman who loved making things as a child, before someone told her that art wasn't practical. It's for the woman who has spent years, decades caring for everyone else and is ready to create room for herself. It's for the woman who doesn't necessarily want another course, another checklist, or another pile of information to consume. She wants space. She wants connection. She wants permission to explore and play and not perform. And perhaps she wants someone to say, you don't have to be good at art to receive something meaningful from creating it. This membership is not about becoming a professional artist. It's not about comparing your work to someone else. It's about using creativity and community as a way to come home to yourself. And each month we'll explore a theme. It might be courage, rest, voice, joy, belonging, possibility. We'll create something inspired by that theme, and then we'll talk about it. Like, what came up for you while you were creating? What surprised you? How is this month's theme showing up? And so on and so on. We'll have 2 gatherings each month, a creative session and a community conversation. This is intentionally not a content-heavy membership. I don't want to give you another library of videos to watch or make you feel behind. I want this place to be a place you look forward to entering. A pause, a breath of fresh air, a reset, a sisterhood rooted in compassion and self-expression, a space where you are seen for who you are, not only for what you accomplish or what you do for everyone else. And most of all, I want to the founding members to help shape what this becomes. I don't build in isolation, and that tell women what they need. I want to listen, to learn, and I want the community to evolve around the real lives and desires of the women inside it. The doors to the founding membership of Painting Your Path are now open through July 31st. The annual founding member rate is $197 for the whole year. And as a founding member, you get to keep that rate forever as long as you remain in a membership. And beyond the price, what you are really saying yes to is a practice. A practice of returning back to yourself. A practice of making room for creativity. A practice of being witnessed without needing to impress anyone. And maybe this episode is not only about my membership. Maybe it's also an invitation for you to notice where you have been making life more complicated and it needs to be. What is the thing you secretly want? What part of yourself have you been talking about, but not fully living? And what would you choose if you stopped asking whether it was impressive enough? And when I said all I wanted to is paint with people, I thought I was admitting that my idea was too small. Now I understand that I was naming something true. And truth doesn't have to be complicated to be powerful. Sometimes the next path is not found by pushing harder. Sometimes it appears when you stop denying what you already know. I want to paint with people. I want to create with women who are ready to reconnect with themselves. I want to build a community where art becomes a doorway into conversation, compassion, healing, discovery, and joy. And I'm finally allowing that to be enough. And maybe there's something in you that is ready to be enough too. So again, the membership is open through July 31st. You can find more information in the show notes. And remember, in this membership, come as you are. You don't need to be an artist. You don't need special supplies. You don't need to know exactly who you're becoming or what that looks like. You only need a little curiosity and a willingness to make space for yourself. Because perhaps you don't need to create an entirely new life. Perhaps you simply need to return to the parts of yourself you left behind. And until next time, keep dreaming, keep deciding, keep planning, keep being brave, and keep reflecting. And of course, keep painting your path.
Thank you so much for staying till the very end. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with a friend. If you haven't had a chance yet, please write a review and rate the show. I would love to hear your feedback. And I also have a free resource guide for anybody who is asking themselves, am I on the right path for myself now? Or is there something else that I really want to do? Maybe you're in that quandary. Maybe you're wondering what's next. So head over to the show notes and you'll see my Painting Your Path framework guide. Download it and have some fun. Just start exploring. And thank you again for tuning in, and I will see you next week.